Hello guys, welcome to Open Techno. Today, even though I'm in my room, we're going to go outside. We're going to go outside to test the Carpurraiz W702B Pro, a model of Carpurraiz that, for all those who don't know, it's a brand that presents devices to connect our mobiles, both Android and iPhone, to all our vehicles, both cars and motorcycles. And yes, I'm sure it's happened to both you and me, going to record a cool route with the bike, getting home, and the files are corrupt. They can't be opened, even if they're on the card or they've directly disappeared for whatever reason. I'm going to tell you a story. A few months ago, I went on a route. I was recording some cool shots on some very beautiful roads. And when I got home, the camera updated and automatically formatted the card, and I lost all those videos. At that moment, Wondershare Recovery, the application I'm introducing today, came into play. A real savior for all those occasions when files have been lost or have become corrupt, as was my case. They have contacted us and told us if we could show. Its application is really very useful, and it is a very simple application and also has a recovery rate of 99.85% of the time. As you are going to see on the computer, very simple interface. We have our hard drives, the card that we have inserted into the computer we are going to scan. The scan will take some time based on the file sizes and secure digital card capacity. The files will start appearing soon. Both the files that the card currently has and the lost ones, which is what interests us. Here you are already seeing that it is getting some images that were on the card and that for whatever reason have either been corrupted or have disappeared. As you see on this card, 308 files found, 150 photos, 37 videos, 1 audio, all of these that had already been deleted and were not going to be available if not for Wondershare Recovery. And hey, we get to work, we hit recover, we tell it where we want it to recover. In my case, on the desktop, we hit save, and as simple as that. But hey, it doesn't end here. We can also recover, as I've told you, corrupted videos or systems that could be Windows or Linux that have also been damaged. As you've seen, this is a very simple application with very few steps. We recover our files, and as I've told you, it supports more than 1,000 different types of files from up to 2,000 types of source devices. So if you've lost any files, don't worry, don't panic, and try Wondershare Recovery. I'll leave the link below in the description. A while ago, a device passed through the channel that allows you to have Apple CarPlay in all those old cars that do not have an integrated system. And today I'm going to introduce a model for motorcycles, a model specially designed for BMW, because it has a special connection which will allow us to attach it directly to the BMW's own support natively. In this way, we will not need to connect external power because it will take it from the BMW's own connection port. I've already given you a summary of this device, but let's take a closer look at it, starting with its unboxing. In the box, we get a lot of things, of course. First, the screen, which, as you can see, has a pretty cool, quite minimalist design with the signature BMW connectivity that comes standard, and with a small sunshade at the top of the screen to avoid sun glare when we're driving. In addition, it comes with connectors so that we can connect it, for example, to a USB or directly to the battery of our motorcycle if we don't already have a previous installation. Are you going to see, in addition, that it also comes with a bracket to install it universally on other motorcycles? However, I won't be using these parts since we'll be installing it on a BMW R 1377.45 pounds S in this video. Therefore, very simple, you will see that we directly take the Carpurraiz and install it on the BMW's own bracket. We just have to pull a trigger to unlock so you can connect accessories there. Once installed, it makes a small click. You lock it with the trigger that we have previously released, and finally, we also lock it with the motorcycle key so that no one can steal it from us. It is perfectly fixed. Absolutely nothing moves. At this point, it is already connected through the pins on the back part to the motorcycle's current, eliminating the need for additional cables. Of course, connecting this Carpurraiz through the BMW connector has an advantage, and that is that it will already be directly connected to the motorcycle's stop. That is, when we turn off the motorcycle, it will take a little bit to turn off because the motorcycle maintains the current for a short period of time. However, when starting the motorcycle, we just turn the ignition and the screen takes about 3-4 seconds to light up. There are smaller models, but this one is perfect. I think the size is super good. Everything is seen very clearly without having to divert your gaze for a long time. Additionally, it doesn't overlap with the motorcycle screen, making it the perfect size for this part. For those who want to leave it installed on the motorcycle, know that this screen has an ingress protection 67 rain protection, so don't worry. It's made for you to leave it on the motorcycle, and it won't let water in or anything happen to it even if the motorcycle is on the street and it's raining. To finish with the design, say that we also have a button to turn the screen on and off, if at any time we want it, even if we are with the motorcycle on. And they also have a slot for unsecure digital card to put in, for example, multimedia stuff and so on. Although both buttons come secured with screws, so nobody on the street is going to be able, for example, to easily remove a card that you have inserted there. Now let's get to the important stuff. I mentioned that we have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. But is it that one of the new features of this W702B Pro model is that we are going to have the possibility, first, to connect two intercoms for the passenger and the person who is driving, and to be able to play music, for example, from Spotify for both people. And second, it has a brightness sensor, which other models do not. We have a sensor that detects the brightness outside and adjusts the brightness from the minimum to the maximum, while based on the lighting conditions. Are you going to see that what I simulate is to put the flash, for example, from the mobile, and you see that the screen becomes brighter. When I turn off the flashlight in a fairly dark garage, the brightness is lowered to the minimum. Other things, we have Wi-Fi to make software updates remotely. We are going to be able to directly share some data from the mobile and download the updates. And we have other things like, for example, a barometer to see the pressure we are at, or also a compass. Well, if you want to have this data in some way and your motorcycle doesn't have it, you can have it on the Carpurraiz screen. Now let's discuss the operation, which is likely of interest to many of you. The operation is correct. In the end, we have, well, a system that practically all the performance is going to pull from our mobile. Simply, our mobile is like it emits a second screen against the Carpurride. It works well. The truth is that, well, man, it's not as fluid as our mobile can be, but it works more or less well. The screen handles well, even when using motorcycle gloves. Of course, that's important. As you see in some images, we are switching between Waze, also Spotify. Do we put some music? In short, all this can be easily handled. The rest depends on your mobile interface, whether you have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, which allow different functionalities. For example, you will be able to write the directions with a keyboard on both Android and iPhone. But for example, in the Spotify application, on iPhone, it does not allow you to type the song you want with a keyboard, while on Android, it does. But in any case, we can have both Siri and the Google Assistant to ask them to call someone, to send, for example, a message via WhatsApp, or to take us to a destination using Google Maps or Waze. I think it's a super cool and safe system, so you don't have to deal with a mobile phone there on a tiny screen, which in the end I think is more distracting. I use a quad lock mount on my motorcycle to hold my mobile phone, which I use for Waze directions and other needs. However, I believe this is safer due to the larger listening screen. If at any time we need to change a song, we have it at a super large, very visible touch. Anyway, it's done very quickly, while a mobile phone is not prepared to be touched, nor does it work quite well with a motorcycle glove. We lack the brightness and preparation to have it on a BMW Support. I think it's super good. It's very well anchored. It looks really good to the vision. It's also at a correct height. It leaves just the separation, so it doesn't cover the screen, so it doesn't bother our field of vision while we're driving. But simply with a slight glance, we have all the information at our fingertips, and I can't tell you much more either. If you've used Apple CarPlay or Android Auto in a car, you already know what it is. After all, it's our mobile. In a much simpler way, so we don't complicate our lives while we're driving, this is taken to the world of motorcycles. Now, how much does this device cost? Well, its price. We are in a time of sales. Its base price on Amazon is around 250 euros approximately. Any doubts you have about this device, don't forget to leave them below in the comments, because there may be particular cases where you need to know certain things. Leave your comments below. I'll read and respond to them. Having said that, if you liked the video, leave a like and see you in the next one. Greetings.